Chapter number 2. We hadn't been in the new house more than an hour when the doorbell rang. I answered. It was a girl in a bathing suit. Hi, she said. I'm Nancy Wheeler. The real estate agent set out a sheet on you. So I know you're Margaret and you're in sixth grade. So am I. I wondered what else she knew. It's plenty hot, isn't it? Nancy asked. Yes, I agreed. She was taller than me and had bouncy hair, the kind I was hoping to grow. Her nose turned up so much I could look right into her nostrils. Nancy leaned against the door. Will you want to come over and go under the sprinklers? I don't know. I'll have to ask. Okay, I'll wait. I found my mother with her rear end sticking out of the bottom of the kitchen cabinet. She was arranging her pots and pans. Hey, Mom, there's a girl here who wants to know if I can go under her sprinklers. If you want to, my mother said. I need my bathing suit, I said. Gads, Margaret, I don't know where the bathing suit is in this mess. I walked back to the front door and told Nancy, I can't find my bathing suit. You can borrow mine, she said. Wait a second, I said, running back to the kitchen. Hey, Mom, she says I can wear one of hers. Is that okay? Okay, my mother mumbled from inside the cabinet. Then she backed out, spit her hair out of her mouth, and said, What did you say her name was? Wheeler, Nancy Wheeler. Okay, have a good time, my mother said. Nancy lives 6 houses away, also on Morningbird Lane. Her house looks like mine, but brick is painted white and the front door and shutters are red. Come on in, Nancy said. I followed her into the foyer, then up 4 stairs leading to the bedrooms. The first thing I noticed about Nancy's room was the dressing table with a heart-shaped mirror over it. Also, everything was very neat. When I was little, I wanted a dressing table like that, the kind that wraps up in a fluffy organdy skirt. I never got one though, because my mother likes tailored things. Nancy opened her bottom dresser drawer. When's your birthday, she asked. March, I told her. Great. We'll be in the same class. There are 3 sixth grades, and they're all arranged by age. I'm April. Well, I don't know what class I'm in, but I know it's room 18, and they sent me a lot of forms to fill out last week, and that was printed on all of them. I told you we'd be together. I'm in room 18 too. Nancy handed me a yellow bathing suit. It's clean, she said. My mother always washes them after wearing. Thank you, I said, taking the suit. Where should I change? Nancy looked around the room. What's wrong with here? Nothing, I said. I don't mind if you don't mind. Why should I mind? I don't know. I worked the suit on from the bottom up. I know it was going to be too big. Nancy gave me the creeps the way she sat there in the bed and watched me. I left my polo on until the last possible second. I wasn't about to let her see I wasn't growing it. That was my business. Oh, you're still flat, Nancy laughed. Not exactly, I said, pretending to be very cool. I'm very small boned, that's all. I'm growing already, Nancy said, sticking out her chest way out. In a few years, I'm going to look like one of those girls in Playboy. Well, I don't think so, but I didn't say anything. My father gets Playboy, and I've seen those girls in the middle. Nancy looked like she had a long way to go, almost as far as me. Want me to do up your straps? She asked. Okay. I figured you'd be real grown up from New York. City girls are supposed to grow up a lot faster. Did you ever kiss a boy? You mean really kiss on the lips? I asked. Yes, Nancy said impatiently. Did you? Not really, I admitted. Nancy breathed a sigh of relief. Neither did I. I was overjoyed. Before she said that, I was beginning to feel like some kind of underdeveloped little kid. I practiced a lot, though, Nancy said. Practice what? I asked. Kissing. Isn't that what we're talking about? Kissing? How can you practice that? I asked. Watch this. Nancy grabbed her bed pillow and embraced it. She gave it a long kiss, then she was done and she threw it back on the bed. It's important to experiment, so when its time comes, you're all ready. I'm going to be a great kisser someday. Want to see something else? I stood there with my mouth half open. Nancy sat down on her dressing table and opened a drawer. Look at this, she said. I looked. There was a million little bottles, jars, and tubes. There were more cosmetics in the drawer than my mother had altogether. I asked, what do you do with all that stuff? It's another one of my experiments to see how I look best. So when the time comes, I'll be ready. She opened the lipstick and painted it bright pink on her mouth. Well, what do you think? I don't know. It's kind of bright, isn't it? Nancy studied herself in the heart-shaped mirror. She rubbed her lips together. Well, maybe you're right. She wiped it off with a tissue. My mother would kill me if I came home this way. I can't wait until 8th grade. That's when I'll be allowed to wear lipstick every day. Then she whipped out a hairbrush and started to brush her long hair. She parted it in the middle and caught it in the back with a barrette. Do you always wear your hair like that? She asked. My hand went up to the back of my neck. I felt all the bobby pins I used to pin in my hair so my neck wouldn't sweat. I knew it looked terrible. I'm letting it grow, I said. Isn't that an in-between stage now? My mother thinks I should wear it over my ears. My ears stick out a little. I noticed, Nancy said. I got the feeling that Nancy noticed everything. Ready to go? She asked. Sure. She opened a linen closet in the hall and handed me a purple towel. I followed her down the stairs and into the kitchen, where she grabbed 2 peaches out of the refrigerator and handed me one. Want to meet my mom? She asked. Okay, I said, taking a bite of my peach. She's 38, but she tells everyone she's 25. Isn't that a scream? Nancy snorted. Miss Wheeler was on the porch with her legs tucked under her and a book on her lap. I couldn't tell what the book was. She was suntanned, and she had the same nose as Nancy. Mom, this is Margaret Simon, who just moved in down the street. Miss Wheeler took off her glasses and smiled at me. Hello, I said. Hello, Margaret. I'm very glad to meet you. You're from New York, aren't you? Yes, I am. East side or west? We lived on West 67th, near Lincoln Center. How nice. Does your father still work in the city? Yes. And what does he do? He's insurance. I sounded like a computer. How nice. Please tell me your mother. I'm looking forward to meeting her. We've got a Morningbird Lane bowling team on Mondays and a bridge game every Thursday after I don't think my mother knows how to bowl. And she won't be interested in bridge. She paints most of the day, I explained. She paints? Miss Wheeler asked. Yes. How interesting. What does she paint? Mostly pictures of fruits and vegetables, sometimes flowers too. Miss Wheeler laughed. Oh, you mean pictures? I thought you meant walls. Tell your mother we're making our carpools early this year. We're happy to help her arrange hers, especially Sunday school. That's always the biggest problem. I don't go to Sunday school. You don't? No. Lucky, Nancy snorted. Nancy, please, Miss Wheeler said. Hey, Mom, Margaret came to go under the sprinklers with me, not to go through the 3rd degree. All right, if you see Evan, tell him I want to talk to him. Nancy grabbed me by the hand and pulled me outside. I'm sorry my mother's so nosy. I didn't mind, I said. Who's Evan? He's my brother. He's disgusting. Disgusting how? I asked. Because he's 14. All boys of 14 are disgusting. They're only interested in 2 things, pictures of naked girls and dirty books. Nancy really seemed to know a lot. Since I didn't know any boys of 14, I took her word for it. Nancy turned out on one side of the faucet and adjusted it so the water could spray lightly from the sprinkler. Follow the leader, she called, running through the water. I guess Nancy was the leader. She jumped through the spray. I followed. She turned cartwheels. I tried but didn't make it. She did leaps into the air. I did too. She stood straight under the spray. I did the same. That's when the water came out of the full blast. We both got drenched, including our hair. Evan, you stinker, Nancy shrieked. I'm telling. She ran off to the house and left me alone with 2 boys. Who are you? Evan asked. I'm Margaret. We just moved in. Oh, this is Moose, she said, pointing to the other boy. I nodded. Hey, Moose said, if you just moved in, ask your father if he's interested in having me cut his lawn. $5 a week, and I'll trim it too. What'd you say your last name was? I didn't, but it's Simon. I couldn't help thinking of what Nancy said, that they were only interested in dirty books and naked girls. I held my towel tight around me in case they were trying to sneak a look down my bathing suit. Evan, come in here this instant, Miss Wheeler hollered from the porch. I'm coming, Evan muttered. After Evan went inside, Moose said, don't forget to tell your father, Moose free. I'm in the phone book. I won't forget, I promised. Moose nibbled a piece of grass. Then the back door slammed and Nancy came out, red-eyed and sniffling. Hey, Nancy, baby. Can't you even take a joke? Moose asked. Shut up, animal. Nancy yelled. Then she turned to me. I'm sorry that he had to act like that on your first day here. Come on, I'll walk you home. Nancy had my clothes wrapped up in a little bundle. She was still in her wetsuit. She pointed out who lived in each house between mine and hers. We were going to the beach on Labor Day weekend, she said. So call for me on the first day of school and we'll walk together. I'm absolutely dying to know who's our teacher going to be. Miss Phillips, who we were supposed to have, ran off with some guy from California last June. So we're getting somebody new. When we got to my house, I told Nancy if she'd wait a minute, I'd give her her bathing suit back. I didn't need it in a hurry. Tell your mother to wash it and give it back next week. It's an old one. I was sorry she told me that, even if she'd already guessed it. I mean, probably I wouldn't have lent a stranger my best suit either, but I wouldn't come out and say it. Oh, listen, Margaret, Nancy said. On the first day of school, wear loafers, but no socks. How come? Otherwise, you'll look like a baby. Oh, besides, I want you to join my secret club, and if you're wearing socks, the other kids might not want you. What kind of secret club? I asked. I'll tell you about it when school starts. Okay, I said. And remember, no socks. I'll remember. We went to the hamburger place for supper. I told my father about Moose Freak. Only $5 cutting it, and he trims too. No thanks, my father said. I'm looking forward to cutting it myself. That's one of the reasons we moved here. Gardening is good for the soul, my mother beamed. They were really driving me crazy with all the good for the soul business. I wondered when they'd become such nature lovers. Later, when I was getting ready for bed, I walked into the closet, thinking it was the bathroom. Would I ever get used to living in this house? When I finally made it to the bed and turned out the light, I saw shadows on the wall. I tried to shut my eyes and not think about them when I kept checking to see if they were still there. I couldn't fall asleep. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. I'm in my new bedroom, and I still have the same bed. It's so quiet here at night. Nothing like the city. I see shadows on the wall, and I hear these funny creaking sounds. I'm scared, God. Even though my father says all houses make noises and shadows are only trees, I hope he knows what he's talking about. I met a girl today. Her name is Nancy. She expected me to be very grown up. I think she was very disappointed. I don't think it's time for me to start growing, God. If you could arrange it, I'd be glad. Thank you. My parents don't know I actually talk to God. I mean, if I told them, they'd think I'm some kind of religious fanatic or something. So I kept it very private. I can talk to him without moving my lips if I have to. My mother says God is a nice idea. He belongs to everyone. And that concludes chapter number 2.